trying to turn down mine. Jerry? Jared, okay.
Got his attention now.
Okay, and Cheryl George. So, we'll do okay, Vice President Haskey.
Yes, I'm here.
Secretary Wells.
Here.
Board Member George.
Here.
And Board Member Montoya. Okay, and I'm here. So we have a quorum, we have 4 members, and just let us know when Montoya joins in. Okay, we're down to item 2. What happened to our flag and our prayer?
We can do flag and prayer on the...
Okay, we're on the work session. Okay. I swear, Okay, item 2. Item A, NMSBA presents the Outstanding Leadership Award, Leadership Achievement Award, and Exemplary Award to board members by Steve Carlson.
Hello, everyone online, everyone who's in attendance here. I appreciate the opportunity to present some awards to our board members. I just want to say a couple things to preface these awards. I had the opportunity to attend a conference with all of our board members, which was amazing that all 5 board members showed up to the conference together in Albuquerque recently. At the beginning of December, and for these awards, there's very few school boards who actually have the majority of their board getting awards. With our board, we not only had the majority, but we had every single board member represented with these awards, which goes to show you the kind of dedication that board members actually put in from CCSD. I've just spent the last Saturday with these board members again for a board retreat, and that's the 3rd full day of retreat that our board members have put in. They basically don't get paid for all this extra time. I get a little bit of mileage, and that's about it, but they're willing to come and work all these extra hours. And again, there's 89 districts in the state of New Mexico. Out of those 89, I would say, I was just looking at the list, I think there's about maybe 6 or 7 of them, so less than 10%, where all the board members attend all these trainings. So I'd like to thank the board members, and I'm going to go ahead and read these awards, and then I'll just keep them aside for everybody. With the award, there is also a pin, and I'll just also mention that I have 2 prior years, where the school board members also have the award. So I'm going to go through those real quick. But this is the one from December, and what we have is for the Leadership Achievement Award. We had 2 new board members last year, and both those board members achieved this Leadership Achievement Award. I'll read it. The New Mexico School Boards Association presents this Leadership Achievement Award to Cheryl L. George of Central Consolidated School Board of Education. This certificate acknowledges that the board member has successfully completed 24 cumulative hours of training for Level 1 of the Leadership Development Program set by the Board of Directors of the New Mexico School Boards Association. Also receiving that award last year's board president, Marion L. Wells, who received his Leadership Achievement Award as well. So the two newer board members we had last year received the Leadership Achievement Award. They also both received what's called the Outstanding Leadership Award. And I'll read that one real quick. This certificate acknowledges that the board member has successfully completed 36 cumulative hours of training for Level 2 of the Leadership Development Program set by the Board of Directors of the New Mexico School Boards Association. Again, our two newest members both achieved Level 1 and Level 2. Very rare across the state of New Mexico. Again, CCSD School Board going above and beyond. All 5 board members were presented with the Exemplary Award, which is a certificate that acknowledges that this board member earned 20 or more hours of training within the 21-22 program year. So the Exemplary Award goes to current President Christina Aspis, also to current Vice President Suzette Haskey, to current Secretary Toya. So again, I'd like to just congratulate all of our board members and just let them know how much we appreciate all their service and all the time they put in and all the effort they put in, the countless hours working with our communities, the various communities who all appreciate their efforts again. So thank you for that. I'm going to go real quick. I'm not going to read what all the awards are as far as the verbiage of it, but I'm going to let you know what they are. For the year 2021, we have the Exemplary Award going to Christina Aspis, Suzette Haskey, Gary Montoya, and the Outstanding Leadership Award to Suzette Haskey and to Gary Montoya. That's for the school year 2020 and 2021. Going all the way back to 2019 and 2020, our school members got these awards: the Exemplary Award to Suzette Haskey, the Leadership Achievement Award to Suzette Haskey, the Exemplary Award to Christina Aspis, and also the Leadership Achievement Award and the Outstanding Leadership Award to then board member Sheldon Pickery. So once again, thank you very much to all of our school board members. We will pass these out along with your pins so you can take these and display them as you see fit. Thanks again for all your service, and I look forward to more New Mexico School Boards Association meetings with our board members. Thank you.
We can wait. So any board members want to comment, say something?
Madam President,
Go ahead.
I would just like to thank the district for the opportunity to participate in these trainings. They've been very helpful and beneficial to me, and I appreciate that opportunity.
Any other board members?
What was the question? I'm sorry, I lost service.
As, it was just commenting on the NMSBA awards, if you had any comments regarding that.
I think it's a great opportunity for us as a board, especially with the number of board members that receive awards, how we are invested in making our community better. So thank you to all the board members for really being actively involved and helping develop, I guess, better strategies, better plans to help with the overall success.
Thank you, Vice President. Anybody else?
Board President Aspis, may I?
Go ahead.
I just want to, it's been a learning experience, and I thank everyone, all the other veteran board members for, and the superintendent and his staff, all the way down to our stakeholders and our constituents. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, these trainings and representing our school district and our stakeholders and the students and our constituents. Thank you. It's been a good learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member George. So we'll continue on. And number 3, no comments. So we'll go to number 4. Item A, Newcomb High School and Middle School by Candace Thompson.
Good afternoon, School Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson. Tonight, I would like to present the ed spec for Kirtland Middle School, High School project. And with that, Ms. Carrie Ann Wolf will go over the ed spec for the construction of that project. Carrie Ann, if you can please present to the board.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Board President, members of the board, and Superintendent. We appreciate the opportunity to present to you this evening. I understand that Sharon will be sharing the presentation to you all. Otherwise, if I have share screen ability, I can bring it up on my machine and share it. Okay, it says I'm the host now, so it looks like I can share my screen. So I'm going to do that very thing and put it into presentation mode. You can see that. Thank you for having us this evening. I'm Carrie Ann Wolf. I'm with Cooperative Strategies. With me this evening are Stephen Mumblow and Gretchen Welch, who also participated and assisted in the project. I have about a 20-slide presentation to share with you this evening. This is an abridged version of a final report that you all should have received last week as a PDF. And within this presentation, there are page references to the final report. So as you may or may not remember, when this project was awarded for planning purposes, it was awarded as a combination school for the Newcomb Middle and High School. So a combination building of 7th through 12th grades. I will share with you just kind of 2 main pieces of this presentation. The first is regarding existing conditions of the facilities, their enrollments, their capacity, a little bit about the site and condition, and a small component we were asked to evaluate, which was teacher housing, and then also the educational specifications, what the standards are, what the requirements are, a concept for a floor and a site plan, and then some high-level phasing and a high-level budget for this project. So I will, if you happen to have the final report either with you in hand as a hard copy or electronically, I'll draw your attention to the pages that you might flip to so you can reference the different pieces.
May I interrupt you, Ms. Wolf?
Yes, of course.
Okay, this is President Aspis.
Yes,
You're referring to a PDF supposedly the board has received?
yes.
I don't recall receiving that. And your presentation, your presentation need for us to see this before we continue, or?
No, it doesn't. No, the documents were sent earlier to the district, but no, it's not necessary for you to have seen the report before this presentation. I just thought that sometimes it's helpful. Of course, the presentation isn't going to go line by line through the report. It's an overview of what you'll see in that document. So if you refer later to this presentation, you'll be able to then flip to those corresponding pages in the report.
I don't yet have them, but I'll get them to you. Just now?
Okay, is it possible that we could do this Tuesday? And have a chance for the board to look at it like it was intended to?
We do motions and stuff. Could we have to do that or not? Just do it?
We can just,
Roll it over?
yes, Ms. Wolf, like to go ahead and yes, table till Tuesday.
Okay?
We didn't get the report, and it was just emailed to us, so we'll table till
Okay.
Tuesday.
Is the meeting on Tuesday the same time as this meeting? Is it a
No.
different time?
It'll be at 5:30.
5:30 Mountain Time. Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
we'll table. And thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. We'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll continue on to item B, National Science Foundation Projects and CCSD School District by Jeff Havermill, NAU, Northern Arizona University.
Hello, everyone. May I share my screen, please? All right. Thank you for allowing me to join you this evening. And I just wanted to share with you from my very bright office with all the snow behind me. I'm sorry that it's so bright in here, but hopefully you can see my screen okay. We have at Northern Arizona University been able to receive 3 National Science Foundation grants to work in the area of STEM education in and around schools in the Navajo Nation. One is called Project CoSTEM, which is for science and math mostly, and 2 for computer science education, one called LTC for Let's Talk Code, and one that's IID, investigating improving computer science pathways. Superintendent Carlson has been able to receive information. This is my 20th year at Northern Arizona University, and before that, when I was finishing up my PhD from the University of Colorado, I was able to work for New Mexico State University for a couple years. So I've been doing math and science and technology education in the Four Corners region for about 25 years. But this is the first time that I've been involved with National Science Foundation grants that involve a bit of research. The National Science Foundation is asking us to to ask the nation and participating schools and districts if it's okay to survey students about do they like the work that their teachers are sharing with them. The science, math, and computer science teachers are trying to develop engaging STEM lessons for students. And the National Science Foundation has asked us to ask the students, do they like science and STEM? Do they see themselves possibly having a career in STEM? And do they like the types of lessons that their teachers are offering? As I mentioned, Dr. Carlson, as I showed, the principals at Sabet and Newcomb have already provided their support for these projects, as has the Division of Diné Education. And we have preliminary approval from the Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board, but they ask us to do due diligence, and in addition to the superintendents and principals, also seek approval and support from the participating school boards. So that is why at this time, I'm trying to come before you and share the work that we're doing with math, science, and computer science teachers, and see if also you would approve of us asking students how they are valuing the work that they're doing with their teachers. And that's why I'm here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, Doctor, I have a question. On
Yes.
the slide that you put up with the Navajo Nation Board of Education.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with the practices of the board, but I noticed up there the resolutions dated 2022. How often do they, or how long does their resolutions last?
Well, my understanding is that this resolution is in support for the length of these projects. We will be asked to give quarterly updates to the Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board when we received these support resolutions from the Navajo Nation Board of Education. I was not informed of the length of those. We are meeting again with the Division of Diné Education next Wednesday, and I can confirm the answer to that question and make sure we're keeping everyone abreast of our progress.
Okay, and also the other that you flashed up there, which was that one there, Navajo Nation Human
Yes.
Review Board. Is that still? That was in
yeah,
August,
so
right?
I'm sorry, the
Okay.
connection cut out a little bit, but all of these, as I was mentioning, it's taken quite a bit of time to make sure we're communicating with all the stakeholders. So our order of operations has been to go to the superintendents, and then to the principals, and now to the school boards. Actually, Central Consolidated is moving a little quicker than most. We're on the Kayenta School Board next month. Flagstaff has already signed off on everything, and then we're still working with Window Rock to get all the approvals. We have several, but We actually haven't started any of the research yet, the survey of the students. We are optimistic. We'll continue to get those approvals and then share our findings, and the teachers at all of our sites will be working so that they can share what they're learning with other teachers in the schools. Right now, at each school, there's teams of 3 teachers at Save It I and at Newcomb who are waiting to implement the STEM lessons that they have planned with their students once approvals are obtained, because the National Science Foundation wants to ask them what they think before and what they think after. So we're still in the process of obtaining all the approvals. The teachers have already participated in their professional development, but they have yet to implement the lessons and the units that they've planned at this point in time. We're still seeking approvals.
Okay, can you put it back to CCSD?
Yes. And there's 2. One is for the Project CoSTEM, which is the math science grant that the teachers have already participated in the professional development and have planned their lessons. And the other is for the computer science grants, which once approvals are obtained, we are still working to continue recruiting teachers to participate in professional development this summer and implement activities next academic year.
Oh, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, there. I just wanted clarification. This is Suzette Haskey. I wanted to know if the duration of the project, so the professional development is only going to be taking place next summer, and then what is learned during the professional development will extend through the academic year, or is the professional development going to go through the summer along with the academic year?
Each project is on a little bit different timeline. The CoSTEM Math Science project, the professional development, has that where teachers come to Flagstaff and do online work, has concluded, and the teams of teachers in each district are preparing to implement lessons this academic year, and then hopefully recruit some other teachers from their schools over the summer and continue to enhance the lessons that they've planned and implement again with more teachers next academic year. And that will be the final year of this round of CoSTEM. We're optimistic that if we are able to provide the National Science Foundation the student feedback data that they're asking us for, that we will be able to receive additional funding to continue to work in this way with math and science teachers. The computer science project is just starting, and so it has plans to do professional development with teachers for the next couple years. We're having a planning meeting at Navajo Technical University, who's one of our partners on those projects next week, and we're ramping up for the exact details. But there's funding for a couple cycles of professional development and then implementation for the computer science grants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions from the board? Okay, no questions. So, thank you, Doctor, and we will go on to item C.
Thank you all very much.
Item C is unique trip request, Shiprock High Band Annual Trip, Denver, Colorado, by Helen West.
You guys okay? I am not sure if you can hear me.
We're not sure what language you're speaking, but
Oh, can you hear me okay? No? I also cannot hear you guys now.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
We can. At the very beginning, it sounded a little bit, yeah, it was a little garbled. So, yes. But
Okay,
we
but
hear
you
you
guys-
loud and
you
clear
guys
now,
can
so
hear me
thank you.
now.
We're good.
Excellent. All right. So you have the request there. I'm not sure if you have the itinerary on that attachment, but I can share that, I think, if you allow me to share my screen. Oh yeah, there it is. So this is just a request to take the kids to Denver. This is pretty standard. The middle school and the high school have taken kids to Denver and Salt Lake pretty regularly for their spring band trip. The only difference this year is I'm actually not going to do music in the parks. I feel that it is more important right now as our program rebuilds after the pandemic for students to see musicians in action. So I decided to go on a different day than Music in the Parks competition is being offered, because you can see right there, third item down, we have the opportunity to go to the Denver Symphony Orchestra to watch a Rachmaninoff performance. That's going to be a really unique experience for the kids to watch professional musicians in a professional setting. And it's only $10 a kid. So that's really what I wanted to do. In addition, go to Mount Princeton Hot Springs, the sand dunes. And then, of course, just because it's Denver and the kids feel, they want to go to Elitch Gardens. And I'm trying to set up some local collaborations so that the kids also have an educational experience at a local college, possibly CSU Boulder or Fort Collins, and then also maybe with some local high schools to do some musical exchanges. So yeah, I don't know if it cut out again, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
okay, board members, you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I would just like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay. As a former band student, I think these opportunities are wonderful. It helps our students, so thank you for putting this together, because I think it's really helpful for part of our students' education to broaden their horizons. So thank you for putting this whole trip, these opportunities, making them available for our students. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that. I think it's really important too. And I always try to do something cultural, something college related, and then something fun. So you can, I think it's really important for them.
Okay, I have a question. So on your cultural, what is that? Can you
So
explain?
there are kind of three cultural elements. So the one is more Western European cultures going to the symphony. That's a cultural experience and a growth experience for any young musician. But then two, when we go to the Great Sand Dunes National Park, I am going to ask our Navajo teacher, Mr. Brady. I actually might ask him to chaperone, but hopefully do a cultural kind of talk about what that means for our Navajo students. A couple of my kids are traditional, and so maybe offer a prayer and get to visit that sacred place. And then the hot springs are kind of cultural, kind of fun. I guess you guys can make a decision on what you think about hot springs being cultural and they're not, but I find them a little bit of both, I guess, personally.
Thank you. Any more comments, questions, board members? Yeah, they need to fix that.
Yeah, fix those things. Well, the cost too, it's at $16.
Ms. West, can you go back to your, I think you have a typo.
Yeah, it looks like you submitted it January of last year, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
true.
No, that is correct. I submitted it. That's the date I turned it in.
But it says 2022 is what they're,
Oh, right. Right.
and you're missing
I
a
see
couple
that
zeros
typo.
on the cost.
Yeah, it looks like $16 to $25.
I
Yes,
figure it's
you're
more
right.
like
I can fix both of those.
16,000, 25,000. And you're missing an
You're
R
right.
also on
You're right.
fundraiser. So,
Yeah, for archive reasons, we need those fixed.
Those fixed.
And
I will fix those this evening. Submit it again, I guess. Is that the correct protocol?
your chaperone ratio to the students, is
So-
that adequate?
I think the rule is 1 to 10 students, so I don't exactly know who's going to chaperone, but I never go beyond that. I always have at least one chaperone for every 10 students.
Okay. Any more questions, comments? All right, thank you. We'll
All right,
go
thank you.
on to item D. Unique trip. It keeps going off. Unique trip request. We're on item D. Newcomb High School Theater Broadway show, New York City, New York, May 17th through 22nd.
Okay, we're there? Okay. Good evening, school board. Good evening, superintendent. We have something that's pretty incredible, monumental, and it's a great opportunity. And I'm really excited about this. And as the way some things happen, it didn't start out planned this way. It just kind of grew. So I need to give you a little bit of background to tell you where we came from and how we arrived here. Before COVID, I teach theater and art. And before COVID, we did children's theater because there was a captive audience over at the elementary school, and we would just go get the elementary kids and come over. And we don't really have a performance space at Newcomb. We have a black box theater that we converted from a non-used classroom. But the most we can get in there, and we have a little stage in there, but the most we can get in there is about 40 kids that are willing to sit in the floor. And so we've been doing children's theater. After we came back from COVID, it was kind of hard to get things started again. And the students didn't seem to be interested anymore in doing children's theater. They talked about doing, why can't we do the type of drama, the type of plays that kids at other schools do? I said, well, okay, that means we'll have to do a few things differently. So with the help of my principal and a few other teachers, we looked at the theater classes differently. Instead of having a class where students just get put in there because it fits their schedule, we chose to do it after school during the advisory class where it's a club, so it's after school, so kids that really wanted to do the theater program could come in there and it wouldn't be affected by their schedule. So we got kids that were really excited about and wanted to do some theater. So that's how our theater program this year started during the advisory period. I took them to the New Mexico High School Theater Conference, which they'd never been before, and so we took them there, and they presented for other high school students, and they also watched other high school students from across the state of New Mexico. And I'm proud to say that we were the only native school in all of New Mexico that was there in attendance at the conference for theater students across the state of New Mexico. So when our students saw high school students from across the state doing plays and doing the performances that they do at home, there was a revelation. There's a lot more out there that we could be doing. And so we decided, instead of looking for a script that's published like everybody else does, we were going to create our own script. And here's how we did it. It's called devised theater. You take newspaper headlines, you take newspaper stories, and through improvisation, you build a scene on an idea. And it's things that's in the news, things that are happening that people are talking about. And so we decided to create our own play, and we're proud to say that we will be performing it at the Phil Thomas Performing Arts Center in May. And we are working very, very, very hard. We're going to have a stage set. It's going to be a full-out piece of theater that they're working on. And it's going to be a gift to our school. It's going to be a gift to the community. The play is going to be bilingual. There is one character that speaks only in Navajo. I'm using some adults, some faculty members, some actors from Farmington, from the Farmington Theater Group T, that will come and work with our students on this project. So it's not just juniors and seniors doing the performance, but also adults that will be working with us as well. And it's the story that we've developed is about a girl who loves the work of Lucy Tapahanso, who, if you know, is born and raised in Shiprock and probably one of the greatest Native American authors living today. And so the girl and through a series of events, she has to go off and spend the summer in a sheep camp with her Masane. And also she works in a trading post there. And it's a pretty great script, I got to tell you. But Okay, while we were working on this, I knew that Tantu Cardinal was going to perform in a play in Los Angeles. Tantu Cardinal is the most recognizable Native American actress working today. She was in Dances with Wolves, she was in Powwow Highway, she was in Smoke Signals. When you see her face and hear her voice, you will know who she is. So I knew that she was doing a play in Los Angeles, and it was a play that I really wanted to see, but it was on Broadway, but it was closed early because of COVID, and so they transferred Cardinal, and they did. I emailed her and said, I'm going to come see you in this play, and my students want to ask you some questions about theater and performing. So the students wrote down the questions. After her performance, she spent 30 minutes backstage sitting there answering our students' questions on videotape. I brought it back to our students, played the videotape. They were amazed that she was talking to them and calling them by name. To hear your name spoken by a very famous actress is a pretty incredible thing, especially when you're 16, 17 years old. So I played this for the students, and that was a really good motivating device. Play called the Thanksgiving Play. It was a big hit on the West Coast, and here's the interesting thing. It's written by a Native American woman. She's an enrolled tribal member of the Rosebud Sioux Lakota in South Dakota. She wrote this play. It caught on. It's very popular on the West Coast. It's moving to New York, and it's going to open on Broadway. So I said, could we get a Zoom meeting with Larissa Fasthorse to talk to our students about what it's like to be a playwright, a Native American playwright? Where do your ideas come from? Could you talk to our students? And I never got to talk to her, but I talked to the theater, and they said, well, let us see what we can do. Zoom, why don't we do it live? And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, well, if you could get your students here, Larissa would love to meet your students. Come out, talk to your students, and we'll give you free tickets to see her play. Now, in March, when her play history of Broadway, it's history. One time it'll happen. And this is the time, and then after that, it'll already be done. But this is history being made. So we would like to take our also, while we're there, we'll go to the Museum of the American Indian, the Gustav Heye collection. We'll go to the Statue of Liberty. We'll go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We'll go to the Metropolitan Museum of History. And in case you're wondering, I go to New York City about 3 times a year. But I got to tell you one more thing too, and this was just an add-in. I wanted to take a tour of Lincoln Center and let our students see all of Lincoln Center, and I found out that the first night that we were there, they will be doing some of the most beautiful music ever written, performed by one of the greatest opera companies in the world, in the most beautiful opera house in the whole world, performed in New York City by the Metropolitan Opera. In my 50s, I finally got to go to the Metropolitan Opera. I'd waited all that time, and it was life-changing. Being able to meet a playwright, if you love theater, and you go and you meet a playwright who shares a reservation background like they do, and to sit down and talk with them and to ask questions and to share that experience, I see it as being transformative. So, questions?
Any questions, board members?
Board President Aspis, may I?
Go ahead, board member George.
It's really not a question, but just a compliment. I think this is a great opportunity for our students to actually go to New York City. I mean, I haven't been to New York City myself, so what a great opportunity for our students to travel out there and actually see a Broadway show and to be amongst, celebrities that contribute to the Native culture. And so I think this is a great opportunity. Thank you for bringing it up, Mr. Templin. Did I say your name right, your last name? I'm sorry if I messed it up, but I think this is a great opportunity. Thank you.
I like to say the same thing. Thank you. When I was 14 years old, I was fortunate enough to go to New York City and run around the city, go to Barnard and go to the Twin Towers and all those places. I had the opportunity to do all those things, and I know what a wonderful experience that was. And I really thank you and commend you for providing these opportunities for our students. I think that and I'm a product of Newcomb High School.
Right.
I went to school from elementary through high school there. So, and growing up on the reservation, we do have limited opportunities. And I think with these different field trips, it really does help broaden our world, expands our horizon. So things are doable. I mean, you see it in a bigger, your world opens up, I think. So I commend you for that. I thank you for that. And I love Broadway, so that would be so awesome for our students. So thank you.
And especially after having performed the play.
Right.
The reason the community
Yeah.
exists is for making theater right after they've done it.
And it's amazing that you're bringing this forward because I was in Santa Fe last week and I met someone from the Santa Fe Arts, some organization, I can't remember right off the top of my head, and she had scholarship opportunities for students that were interested in film and in acting. So I think this is perfect opportunity.
Yes, we even met two actors. One is with the series 1883, and the other one
Now is such a booming time for Native American actors and filmmakers. And like when I went to see Tantu Cardinal in Los Angeles, the role that she was playing was not written for a Native American by using a Native American actress in this role because it was not written that way. The playwright hadn't envisioned it, but a director and a creative theater project put her in that role. So that's one of the things that we talk about now is Native American actors don't have to be cast in Native American roles, that there's a lot more out there too.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
doing
you.
that for our students. Any more questions, comments?
Madam President,
Go ahead.
it sounds like a fantastic opportunity. I commend you for bringing it about, working it out. It sounds like an exhaustive program to put together. I commend you for taking the initiative, and kudos to you.
And when we go to when we would like to go to the museum, the Metropolitan Museum of History, there's an incredible collection of Navajo weaving historians we can. So, yeah, and as I said, it will be transformative, truly. And I'll wear them out running around.
I'd like, when they return,
Mm-hmm.
if we could get, some pictures or,
Well, my plan is to do a whole presentation because I want theater growth from younger students to come up. They need to see these types of things and know that this is some of the things that we're doing and can do. So yeah, I would like for them to do a presentation when we come back.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll go on to item E. Unique trip request, Newcomb High School Educators Rising State Conference. By Sandra Hill. Item E.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to be speaking or not.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Oh, okay. So this is the trip that we go on every year. This is the Future Teachers Program at Newcomb High School that I started when I came here in 2017. And every year that we go, the students compete in their various competitions that help them learn about the teaching profession. And every year we win or first or second place. So it helps them become more excited about teaching. They also go to workshops. They go to networking events where they meet other students who want to become teachers. And it's inspiring to the students who want to become teachers. So I have 6 students going with me this year, and they've been working on their projects, like writing a children's book and delivering a speech, sort of like a TED Talk. They call it creative speech. And one student is going to do a job interview competition. And then 2 of my students are going to do speech competitions where they talk about why they want to become a teacher.
Yes, go ahead, VP.
Clarification, how many students did you say you had going with you?
I have 6 students.
And these 6 students are interested in education?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions, board members?
I have nothing.
And thank you. I just want to say thank you to Ms. Hill. I think this is the concept we have been talking about as board members, growing our own to come back and work with our students as growing our own educators. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. We have a long-term substitute teacher here at our school who was in my first Educators Rising class, and we're already starting to see the benefits of the program. So hopefully we'll get more teachers coming back to our district that go through this program. And the Educators Rising does teach them to be really great teachers, so it's a good program. And they get to start in high school. Hopefully we'll be able to offer the classes again next year at Newcomb High School. We weren't able to this year because they needed me to be a full-time English teacher. But when they do take the classes, they get to do internships and really experience what it's like to be a teacher.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
So we'll go on to item F, unique trip request, Bond Wilson Technical Center, Skills USA, New Mexico Championships, Albuquerque, New Mexico, April 12th through the 15th by Athena Talk.
Good evening, board. I am not Athena Talk. I'm representing Skills USA for Bond Wilson today. Athena is actually fundraising for Skills USA at the game tonight. They're doing a fry bread sale. So if after this meeting you would like to support Skills USA, you can. But anyway, I wanted to speak on behalf of Skills USA. It's not really a unique trip for us because it's something that we take every single year. Last year we took students to the state competition, and when they go to the state competition, then they can also qualify for national competition. So we actually sent 5 of our CCSD students to Atlanta for the national competition there. This year, during those days, they have multiple events in which they partake. And I have, 5 different sponsors coaching 5 different teams representing Bond Wilson and Skills USA. Athena Talk, she does our chapter display, and she has 3 students involved in that. Crystal Benali does basic healthcare, and they'll be competing in first aid CPR, and then they also do a career pathways showcase, and she has 6 students participating in that. Travis Clary is doing carpentry. He has 3 students involved in that. JD Kinlachini is doing culinary arts and baking this year, and he has 4 students involved in Skills USA. And then Mr. Guillory is our welding fabrication teacher, and he has 5 students competing in welding competition at Skills USA. And actually, the trip has already been approved financially and everything, so it's paid for. And that's it. If you have any questions about Skills, I can answer those.
Okay, can you explain a little bit more on how it's paid?
Yes. So we have monies available to support our competitions for Skills USA. Comes out of our fund, 11,000, I believe, and we have money set aside for competitions, and that pays for the housing and food and everything, and entering into the competitions as well. Any fees.
Hey, go ahead. You have to hold it down.
Can you clarify that in regards to how you're funding it? Are you doing fundraisers and other things to
Yeah,
fund
like,
these
so the
programs?
fundraising also helps supplement, like if this, because the students will need different equipment for the competition, and so that helps supplement anything extra they might need. I used to do Skills USA as a culinary arts teacher years ago, and so sometimes the competition asks for very certain equipment that the students take with them. So we would fundraise for like kind of the extra stuff that goes along with those competitions. So it might be, for culinary, it might be chef coats, or like they provide some of the equipment at the competitions, but then they also ask the students to provide some other things on their own. So like I can only speak for culinary arts because I used to do that. So it was like towels and they'd have to bring their own knives and things like that. So we would bring that type of equipment. And so usually the fundraising is to support any incidentals, I guess you could call them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions, comments, board members?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, about how many students are going to make this?
In the state competition, I have, let's see. We have right around 24 students going to competition. And last year we had 5 of our students that qualified for national competition in Atlanta. I believe that came from chapter display that Athena had, and then we had some 2 carpentry students qualify for national competition. And that, I can say that I have taken students to nationals, and Skills USA is an amazing program where we, at the national competition, there's 10,000 students that all converge onto one city and perform in hundreds of different types of competitions at Skills USA. It's like just a cool environment where you're literally competing from students from all 50 states. And it's quite the spectacle for sure. And then there's a lot of industry partners there. There's even industry there recruiting for I think the last time we were there, for culinary in particular, there were some branches from the military that were recruiting people to come and cook for them. And we're offering like $25,000 and $30,000 incentives to sign up to do their culinary for the military. So so there's a lot of cool opportunity in that. All righty. Thank you.
So we'll go down to item G, request for approval of gift donation, NHS CTSO funding support by New Mexico Career Technical Leadership Project by John Brooks.
So, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board, community members that are here. So we're asking for accept a donation that will go towards our FCCLA class competition. So that is a class we have on campus. And so you can see there for membership dues and registration uniforms. So this ties into our culinary arts and door credit class.
Any questions, board members?
Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
I'm reading on here that it's to support the local chapter house. Is that where it's going to be housed at, or is that an extension?
So yeah, the way I believe that I rated this is it's the chapter that is assigned to Newcomb High School. So they use chapters as far as an organization assigned to our school.
Okay, so has this been presented already to the Newcomb chapter? Because if that's the case, it would have to go through the chapter house as a separate entity first.
Go ahead.
Board Member George, the chapter meeting in this context, it's regarding the organization from Newcomb, not from the chapter house. It would be, that's a totally separate organization. This one's the chapter in terms of the organization with being within the school.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions, comments, board members? Okay, thank you. So we'll go on to item H, Memorandum of Understanding between
Alrighty, I'm back again. Actually, I have two MOUs to present. I was wondering, can I present the Extending Equity into the Digital Workforce first? Because I actually have Veronica Sanders, who represents that organization, on Zoom, and she can answer a lot of the questions that you might have about this particular initiative. Yes, I have two to present today. One is actually for the Extending Equity into the Digital Workforce, and then I also have one for Navajo Technical University in Bond Wilson.
on this agenda. So what the public knows and is that the only thing presented from your end or our end is the MOU between Navajo or NTU and CCSD.
Okay. Because I was asked to give both of these today.
It should have, the language should have said both then, or two different items,
Yeah.
but all it
Well,
reads is
that's what I
one.
turned in, so. Okay.
So perhaps Tuesday you can get it on there.
All right, well, let me get a hold of Veronica and tell her. Yeah, Veronica's there.
Yes, I'm here, and Tuesday's no problem. If we can be on the agenda for Tuesday, I'll be happy to be here to answer any questions as well.
All righty. Thank you, Veronica.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
All righty. So this is the MOU between NTU and Central Consolidated. It's just a continuation of an agreement that we have previously had. We share our location at Bond Wilson with NTU. The intent, according to this document, the intent of the MOU is to create and formalize a partnership between NTU and CCSD that will actively create vocational and technical course pathways and programs that will utilize and be contained within the Bond Wilson Technical Center in Kirtland, New Mexico. owned and operated by CCSD to offer eligible students a variety of courses, certificates, and/or degrees using a number of different educational strategies that will improve either high school and adult students' ability to either secure employment or continue their education beyond that which is offered at Bond Wilson Technical Center. So this MOU is for the next 4 years. The date will be updated when we get this approved as to the exact date on when it begins and when it'll end, but essentially it's a 4-year agreement. And if there are any questions about our relationship with NTU and the campus that we share with NTU, I could attempt to answer some of those.
Are there any questions from the board? We don't have any questions.
No questions? All righty. Thank
All
you very
right,
much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Next on the agenda, I dispose of retired district vehicles and school buses by Cindy Theodore and Candace Thompson.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, I am on travel and found a spot that's kind of noisy, so I hope you can hear. So, good evening, Superintendent and members of the board. These vehicles are buses that have reached a replacement cycle or that have high mileage. And the two vehicles down at the bottom are vehicles that have been in the district for over 18 years and have the value, the cost of repair exceeds the value of the vehicle. So, and also the buses. We are retiring them. Any questions?
Are there any questions from the board?
Only a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm glad to see that you're getting rid of this. That backyard back there is starting to look like a
wrecking yard.
Yes, a junkyard wrecking yard. It is.
Yeah, we've only got like these buses and then a couple of vehicles there. So we're trying to get that cleaned out. Well, most of them have been cleaned out, just what's here now, so.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I have a question. Are these vehicles operable, or are they just like mentioned?
Okay, the bottom two vehicles, the Chevy Cavaliers, one of them was vandalized back in the summertime, and so the cost to get that fixed, like I said, outweighs the value of the car. So it's not operable, it's not running. The other vehicle, the second one listed, that one also has engine problems and basically needs a new, major repair, engine replacement. So that's going to cost. So that's the status of those two vehicles. The other vehicles on the second page, I know Candace asked me to present that for her. I'm not really, I know that the Chevy, the first two, the Chevy Silverados, 2004 and 2003, those have been replaced. They have new vehicles, so these will just be sold. And again, they are, up in mileage, and repair would be costing more than what the vehicles were. The 2013 Ford Explorer, and then I guess the Chevy van, food service van, it looks like those are going to be traded in. I don't know much about that. I said this was just given to me to do for her tonight. So then the other two are the semi-truck, box trailer, and then the backhoe. Those are inoperable. They're not working.
I just had one question in terms of the mileage. When you say that they're high in mileage, what do they exceed? What's considered high mileage for a school district?
I believe the Chevy, the trucks are at around maybe 180,000 miles. And then for the buses, those are over 200,000 miles, about 225,000 miles on the buses. Again, the green Ford Explorer, I don't know much about it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
No questions.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
We are moving on to J, Central Consolidated School District and Purdue University Gifted Education Research and Resource Institute School Partnership. Sorry about that. Go ahead, begin. I'm afraid it's going to go out again.
Now you got to start over.
Okay, you may begin.
Good evening. Good evening, Board Vice President Haskey, Member Marion Wells, Member George, and Superintendent Carson. So I just wanted to start with saying that earlier we presented opportunities for our kids going, everywhere, different states, and having that opportunity to experience outside or out of state skills, showing their skills, competitions. I am happy to present to you a partnership that will expand that opportunity for our students. So we basically responding also to different issues that we have in our school district by developing and improving our gifted education program. So we come up with, and I have Dr. Alisa Kress also on the line. Later she can also jump in and I'll give her an opportunity to speak about the partnership that we have with Purdue University. So some background about Purdue University Gifted Education Research and Resource Institute. It is an innovative center dedicated to discovery, study, and development of human potential. Its mission is holistic development of giftedness, creativity, talents among individuals throughout their lifespan. And you can see different programming that they have offer to different students from grades, elementary, middle school, and high school. And these are all, as I said, research and research-based programming. So we are actually presenting a summer residential program. One of their programs in Purdue University is to provide those experience to our students going to the university and giving hands-on experience and meeting other students nationwide. So these are for gifted and talented students currently in grades 5 to 12, and it will be held throughout the dates July 2nd to 29, 2023, with different options with 1, 2, or 4 week sessions. This will be a partnership between CCSD and Purdue University. That means that our kids can go and attend the camp tuition free. So these are some of the programming that is available for summer 2023. So they are kind of like named the different programs as Comet One, Pulsars, kind of like tie that to the heavenly bodies, and you can see those things that they will experience during those times. Yes, and that's the third one. And then, go ahead, Ms. Sharon. So if you click on the first one, so this is basically the flyers that they are sending out to schools. You can see if you scroll down, there are different activities, what it's all about, the different services and programs that we have or that they have offered for students. So you can scroll down, Sharon. You can see those kids are engaged during those time. Okay. Can you go to the next link, Sharon? So the second document is the letter that I'd like to have Dr. Kress speak a little bit about the partnership and the letter that is sent to Central Consolidated School.
Sure, I can do that. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all and yeah, get to present this information to our to your board. Would you like me to pull up the letter, Leandro? Or I don't know if I can actually to share it, but I have, so the link might not work on the slide, but I can tell you a little bit about what the partnership would involve.
Yes, please.
Fantastic. So essentially, this partnership, we have worked with students in your area previously, but we haven't worked with your school specifically, and we would love to go ahead and develop that partnership with you. Essentially, this partnership would be part of the Having Opportunities Promotes Excellence, Developing Scholar Identities Among Underserved Youth with Gifts and Talents project. This is a national federally funded grant through the Javits Foundation, which supports gifted education all throughout the country. Essentially, this project would be aiming to provide summer residential courses, as Leandro mentioned, so usually about 2 weeks worth of camp during the summer to gifted and talented students from diverse cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds, as well as students of, some students may have disabilities as well, many of whom are underrepresented in gifted education in the nation and specific states. There we go. There's the letter. So that I'm on that second paragraph there. As part of this opportunity, we as in Jerry, would provide the program with no tuition costs. As Leandro mentioned, the 1 week camps are about $1,250 and the 2 week camps are about $2,500 that you would not have to pay for. And that's the tuition cost of the program, so those you would not have to pay for. And that would be for up to 20 students in your school district in grades 5 through 12 who would qualify academically. We also work with partner schools to develop the recommendations for which 20 students should come to the program. It doesn't have to be just something like a straight test score. We know that students have abilities that are not often demonstrated in a singular test score. So we want to work with you to select those students who you think would best benefit from participating in the program. As the letter mentioned, this is now our 46th year running our summer residential program. We do offer things outside of just straight academics as well. While the academics are fantastic, many of the teachers are graduate students and professors and local K-12 teachers who really have a passion for the things that they teach. We also address things like socio-emotional concerns, and they still get to be kids, so they still get to play games and be active and, you know, have a great summer experience. And as part of the partnership, we've worked with schools in Diné Nation, Lakota Nation, and Ojibwe Nations, serving students, and we've witnessed how providing these opportunities can really help boost students' confidence and help them grow. In fact, I believe one of the students who's in your school district currently or is feeding into it, his older brother went to camp, and his mom just called us the other day and said how much he benefited from it and that he was a changed person. And this is from the parent directly, you know, and they said that they would really love for their younger child to attend. And so he's specifically in your district. So yeah, we want to, and I have, you know, I've been with the program for about 11 years now, and I have plenty of stories like that of students who've benefited from the program, and we've really been able to see them grow and change. We're also doing something new as part of this grant to help integrate more scholar identity discussions into the small group and affective curriculum, and as well as the academics. This model is well established and researched. It serves underserved adolescents to help themselves see themselves as scholars. I came in, I think, on point H, where you were talking about developing a partnership with the university. So this can help kind of preempt that and help students see themselves as scholars, and like college is an option, or whatever they want to do is an option for them, right? That's a valid thing that they can do, and they can pursue their interests. As it says, it helps them develop self-efficacy, academic self-consciousness or confidence, as well as things like cultural consciousness, achievement, and future orientation, among many other strategies and concepts. As you said, we have the brochure, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. We are working currently with IRB at our university and going through that process, but we have already been approved by the federal government. So yeah, I think that's most of the letter there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
If this will work.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that everything is paid for. Does that include transportation to and from to Indiana?
So at this time, it does not include transportation. We're working to see if we can make that happen. I know in other districts, people have worked on fundraising and things like that, but at this time, it does not include transportation. Okay. Which we know is unfortunate, but and can be a challenge, but we're working on that.
Yes, Dr. Chris, I'm actually about to say we're working with the finance department to cover the costs for the transportation for our students and for those who are chaperoning the kids as well.
Great.
Another question.
Any other question?
Have you already started recruiting students, or do we have students that could possibly apply for the opportunity?
Yes, Ms. Husky, we have identified some of the kids that are potentially getting the most out of our the summer residential program. Those are mostly kind of like recommended by the gifted teachers and also their school administrators. So far, my last count was we have about 10 kids that are interested going. So we're opening it to up to 20, which we are kind of like allotted for at Purdue University.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments, questions, board members?
No comment.
I think it does after, doesn't Oh. Okay.
Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Sorry. I just know you as Leandro.
You can call me Leandro, Ms. Haskey.
So, thank you so much. This is, my sons were gifted that our students, I'm glad that they're being identified and they're receiving the services, because I think our students, all our students, need to be given the opportunity to achieve as high as they can go. I mean,
And I'd like to thank Purdue University and through Dr. Kress and her team, Dr. Seward, who's not able to be here and participate, but they are so supportive for us getting through that opportunity for our students. So thank you, Dr. Kress. Thank you, Board.
Thank you very much.
Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
Mr. Leandro and Ms. Chris?
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation, and what a wonderful engagement for our students to actually go to a prestigious Ivy League college and, get actual hands-on studies there during the summertime. And that lets our students know that they do belong with the elite out in the world, and that they can make it, and that there's opportunities for them. And it will open a wide variety of doors for them to look into. There's a lot of great, really good subjects that are going to be introduced to them during the summertime. So I'd like to thank Purdue and Mr. Leandro and Ms. Kress for bringing this opportunity to our district and to our students. What a challenge that our students can prove their resilience, and that they can thrive, and they can be at an Ivy League college. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to item K. Collective bargaining agreement explanation of process with the union by Margaret Trocheck.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, superintendent.
Hold on, Ms. Trocheck.
Okay.
Board Attorney, Counsel, Ms. Chappelle. I just did. This thing went off. Ms. Trocheck, go ahead, proceed.
Okay, thank you. Good evening again, Madam President, board members, Superintendent Carlson, community. My name is Margaret Trocheck. I'm the Human Resources Director at Central Consolidated School District, and I am here to present the process for the management team and the collective bargaining negotiations for this year coming up, 2023, 2024. So in the next few minutes, I'll describe the management team and the meetings that we have coming up. So we have tentatively organized the folks that are going to be on the team. This could be adjusted over time, but I'll just read real quick who they are. Right now, myself, Margaret Trocek, and then there's Assistant Superintendent Peter Deswood. We have Candace Thompson, Director of Operations, Amanda Sutherland, Director of Support Services, Michael Switch, Director or Coordinator, District Coordinator of Athletics, Donovan Yazzie, Director of Finance, Dr. Lopez Martinez, Director of International Outreach, Cultural Outreach, pardon me, Tanya Amrine, Human Resources Coordinator. We have 3 principals also on the team this year. Candace Keems representing the elementary, Naschitty Elementary. Then we have Dane Gallagher from Career Prep High School. And then we have Dr. Rebecca Benedict from Kirtland High School, Central Kirtland High School. So in the next couple weeks, we will have an opening meeting for the management team to discuss we'll be doing, we plan to do interest-based bargaining, which means each team, the union has a team, management has a team, and each team selects 3 articles that they want to bring to the table to negotiate about. So the management team will be getting together to identify those articles. Once those are identified, I am thinking at the next month's work session or board meeting, whichever makes sense, in executive session, those articles will be presented to the board for consideration. And we will get that input from the school board and go from there. Once the articles are identified, we will plan the opening meeting for both teams. And then we'll meet several times, but we plan to update the board, I would say monthly, in executive session on the progress of negotiations, so they may have input along the way. Confidentiality is an extremely important part of this process, so we need to maintain the highest level of confidentiality throughout the process. That is tentatively what we are planning to do in the next few months here. I would like to stand for questions from the school board.
Any questions, comments, board members?
I don't have any comments at this time.
No comment.
Ms. Trocek, I throw that question back at you and ask, what question should we be asking?
I would say that you would want to know why the management team is suggesting the articles that they are suggesting and what parts of the language they are recommending to change in each, and just try to understand why. And then the other question that I can think of is if there are areas that the school board is concerned about, which of course there always is going to be something, you can bring those up in that executive session. I'm not clear whether that will be the Ms. Chappelle and/or myself or someone else speaking with you during the executive session. But that is an opportunity for the school board to bring up issues, either then or through the superintendent. And we can modify what we're doing as a management team to make sure that the school board is part of the process.
On this process, is it documented? Is it on paper, the process?
I have it in an email right now. We can make it more formal.
Can you share that with the board?
Yes.
And is this list set in stone?
Which list? The list of the articles or the members of the team, or which part? Or all?
The articles and the team.
Right. No, we want to get your input. And that's what we would be covering with you in executive session. So I'm hoping in March, we could be on the agenda in executive session to go over the articles that the management team is suggesting and the roles and responsibilities and members of the management team, so that the school board may have input, right? And Ms. Chappelle, I am sure will work with us on any adjustments that need to be made.
Board President Aspis, can I provide just a little bit of clarification? So hopefully this won't cut out. It's doing all kinds of different things. So the whole presentation was basically somewhat of a, I'm sorry? Do you have a phone number?
I was trying to use the landline, maybe that's what it, and I was trying to dial out. I was, well, usually it's 9-1. But I just kept hanging up and pushing.
It's 8. Thank you. Thank you for coming out, officers. A 9 is common, yeah, but it's 8. That's why we changed it to 8, because that used to happen all the time in schools. Nobody uses the landlines anymore.
I didn't even think of that.
How long did it take him to get here? It was about 5 minutes. Took a while. Oh gosh. Okay. I shouldn't say much. This is public. That was great. Thank you, officers. Thank you, deputies, sheriff. Anyway, so what I was saying when I wasn't paying attention, start all over again. Yeah, you did. You were like, I don't want to hear from you. There's other people. So, so Margaret was basically asked, Ms. Trocek was asked to present, because last fall, when we first talked about the union negotiations, I believe the board felt that they weren't being involved properly from the outset. and the process just sort of took place. This team, that team, no board told zero about the whole thing, and then when it goes to the board, now there's all this language, and you have to be able to look at it and kind of, then you bring the lawyer in, and you have to figure all that out. So through conversations regarding what happened then, we have decided to make sure that the board is involved kind of on the ground floor, so they know what is being negotiated, so you can be part of the process, so you're not blindsided at the end of the process. So that's kind of the reason for the presentation today.
Thank you.
Well, what is exactly going to be approved?
That's not on the consent agenda, I don't believe. It's just informational for you. So it's not on consent.
Yeah, I just saw that. So anyhow, I want to question those items, and then how long does, if there's been a variety of people, I see mostly department heads, and I'd like to know more of why, and
Ms. Trocheck, you could probably answer that a little bit better than I can, since you've been involved in the process for several years.
Typically, the management team has been comprised of mostly department heads. This year, we're adding the principals, 3 principals. We were trying to get a middle school principal as well, but we have not yet. It's still a little bit fluid, but typically there's a chief negotiator, then there's a group, there's 2 or 3 people that work as a team to actually negotiate during the meetings, and then there's other people on the team that caucus with the rest. Everybody caucuses about issues that come up. We don't argue it over the table. We both sides ask for a caucus, and everybody goes and talks about the articles and why changes want to be made from either side. And then the team gets back together and they talk about, it's a very structured kind of process going back and forth until there's tentative agreement between the 2 teams. But the members have been mostly department heads. When we've had an assistant superintendent, they have been on there. I think one year, the finance director, the assistant superintendent were the lead negotiators. I think in most recent years, and then in years past, as you know, we had a consultant that was a chief negotiator. On the union side, they have educational assistants, teachers, union representatives from a few of the buildings. So they've got a pretty wide group of people on there. I guess I hope that helps.
So earlier, you were saying this wasn't set in stone, and
Right.
So as we, go ahead and we're just hearing the presentation of it, but I'd like to get that process to the board members. So.
Okay, yep.
If you could, please.
Yes. I can get that to you on Monday or as soon as possible. I'll send it to the superintendent, and if he's okay, we'll send it over, or he will send it over.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
We'll continue to item L, budget adjustments and journal entries by Donovan Yazzie.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, Superintendent Carlson. Moving to the budget adjustments and journal entries. I believe the first one on the agenda is a maintenance bar. Excuse me. This is a maintenance bar for the months of July through January for the operational accounts. This is to align the budgets in our system with the OBMS system with the Department of Education here. We have a maintenance bar also for the operational account function 4000. It is also a maintenance bar for the months of July through January to align our budgets within the Department of Education and the iVision system. And we have a maintenance bar for the 12,000 fund teachers accounts. It's for the months of January through July through January. It is to cut for the maintenance account to recover repair expenses. And the next one is another maintenance bar for the fund 13,000 transportation account. It is to align our budget from July through January for this particular fund. Next one is another maintenance bar for the food service funds 21,000 for the months of July through January. It is to align the budgets between our system and what we have with the Department of Education. Another maintenance bar for the athletic fund 22,000. It is also for the months of July through January. So we actually have a initial request for budget authority for the CDC Healthy Schools Grant 24130. And it's for $9,500. We awarded this recently. We have a transfer bar for the English Language Acquisition Fund 24153. So this is going to be, that particular bar was to be used for to help support the summer teacher program as we are preparing for the summer program. We have a maintenance bar for Fund 24189. This is to align what we have in our system with the Department of Education here. This is another maintenance bar for grant account, student support application, academic achievement, Title IV, 24189. It's to provide support for coaches and principals. The next one we have is a initial budget request for the ARP Homeless Children Youth Program 24350. We were awarded $1,721. We also have another initial budget adjustment request. This is for another fund that we were awarded some funding for a homeless emergency rescue fund 24355 for $54,166. And we have a transfer bar for the Johnson O'Malley Fund 25131. This is to cover the negative accounts that were within the function. A couple of the functions within the fund. Okay, we have a maintenance bar for Impact Aid 25147 Special Education. This is to align the budget with the OBMS system and our system for the months of July through January. And we also have a maintenance bar for the Impact Aid Indian Education Fund 25147. This also is to make sure our budgets align with both our system and the Department of Education for the months of July through January. And we also have another maintenance bar for the 25147 Impact Aid Indian Education for the months of July through January as well for budget alignment. We have a transfer bar for the Indian Education Act 27150 fund. This is to purchase laptops for the Equity Council, as well as utilize for class assignments and for the students for the College and Career Ready program. So we have a transfer bar for Fund 27412. This is for staff training at the school level and departments. We have a transfer bar here for the At-Risk Intervention Fund 27. This particular department. So we have an increase bar. We were awarded an additional $30,000 from the TIDES grant. It's a private grant, Fund 29102. Next thing, we have a maintenance bar for the 31700 capital improvements, SB 9 money. It's just to make a budget alignment for the months of July through January. And likewise, the next one is also a maintenance bar for capital improvements, Fund 31701 for the months of July through January. Budget alignment. Any questions about the bar adjustments?
Any questions, board members, comments?
Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
The the budgets for January through July, is that for this new funding for July 2023?
Board member George, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson, the actual budget alignment is for the funds that were moved from July 2020 to January 2023 for this particular school year.
Board President, may I again? Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
Do we have is the funding for the homeless grant, do we get that grant with a population that's turned in to receive the grant? Like we have like 75%, 50% of our student population who is homeless. Is that money that's comes in the grant, is that based on the, or is it given to the districts for the homeless program?
Board member George, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson, I believe the homeless, are you referring to the bar that was presented earlier this evening?
Yes.
Okay, so I believe there was two presented, Fund 24350 and Fund 24355. These are subawards that we received from the ESSER, the ARP funds. This is, to my understanding, this was allocation that was discussed within legislative session, and they believe they approved a set a dollar amount that they were going to distribute across the state, and this is the district's portion for these two particular grants here, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so the ARPA, is that from the pandemic then, that we have money left over from the ARPA from the pandemic? Is this what this bar is?
Secretary George, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson, I believe this is additional funding that was requested through the legislative session and the meetings that they had with the superintendents over the last couple of months. So this is a portion that was allocated to our district. So we do still have the ARPA funds, Carissa 2, we still have some of that available, as well as the ESSER's 3 funds. So this is in addition to that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, I guess we will continue on.
Thank you, President Aspis, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson. Moving on to the operational disbursements. I believe what is being presented right now is the disbursements for last month, totaling $4,107,909.80. The next thing being presented is the disbursements for our activity funds for the month of January, totaling $25,784.99. Okay, we have the outstanding check listing for our operational accounts totaling $312,091.19. Our outstanding check listing for the activity accounts totaling $7,302.28. Moving on to our expenditures for funds 11,000 to 23,000. Last month we're totaling $3,981,884.80. And our expenditures for our grants accounts for last month, they were totaling $2,836,949.26. And our expenditures for the capital outlay and debt service funds totaling last month $6,874,956.70. Revenues generating from our general funds. Last month we're totaling $6,484,402, and we didn't receive any revenue generated into our ad valorem taxes from this particular fund, as well as impact aid for this particular fund for last month. We're still Carlos Perkin is going to show on the next one where the revenue grants are. So as far as revenues for grant funds, 24,000 and 29,000 on the first page. Right there, Miss Sharon, thank you for highlighting that. This month we didn't receive any revenues for the Carl Perkins accounts. There's 2 of them there listed. But last month we received a total of $422,736.09 in revenue for the grants funds. Revenues received from the capital outlay and debt service funds. We did receive some ad valorem taxes for the SB 9 fund. I believe we totaled up to receive about $3,052,021.48 from this fund. And the next thing we have here is the invoice detail report. This is for all the expenditures within the within last month, all the checks written and all the accounts that were dispersed, $1,909.80. The next thing we have is the Johnson & Malling listing. Last month was totaling $20,516.65. And then we have the budget journal entries report balancing at $7,248,130. Any questions for this particular section of the board agenda? This is item M, I believe.
Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
Just asking, what is the Mario Smash Brothers? How are we using that with the students?
Secretary George, could you let me know what particular report that was found on, please?
I think it was on expenditures, general funds. Yeah, I think it was that one. It was right on the very top. Oh no, that's salary. I mean, are we using it like an after-school program? And I'm pretty sure that they're using it. But
I don't. Board Member George, members of the Board, Superintendent Carlson, I would like to know what report it's on.
it's okay. You can just send it in an email later. It's not. I mean, I was just wondering because I know that's a pretty popular game, and I'm pretty sure it's for after-school activities or
So you
something
said,
like that.
could you repeat what the question was again, please?
Oh, I was just wondering what we bought it for like after-school activities, or how are we utilizing that Nintendo game?
The activities. Okay. So that's for the esports program that's over at this Kirtland Central High School. Is activity part of the school, I believe. Is it Newcomb High? Board Member George, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson, we have the principal of Newcomb High here, and he says it's utilized for the esports program that's over at his high school, and it's an after-school club. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. Activities associations sanction activities.
From what Mr. Brooks has said, it's an activities association with the New Mexico Athletics Association. Is that?
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
You sure there's not a weather balloon up there?
Testing? Testing, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
We're not having to go back to L, are we? No, just kidding. So we're at M. Okay. So go ahead, proceed.
Item N?
N.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Carlson. Moving on to item N. We have the purchase orders for procurement over 60,000. There's a total of 11, I believe, purchase orders over 60,000. The first one is for the student support services for Learning Plus consultants, totaling $100,000. The next one on there is the for our information technology department for Apple computers. This is for the purchase of MacBook Airs. As well as software subscription, totaling $124,800. And then we have a purchase order for the purchase of 2 vehicles from our maintenance department for Chalmers Ford, totaling $125,384. Moving on to the fourth purchase order, we have for the LGS and Associates for our support services department, totaling $65,494 for telespeech language pathology services. We have cooperative educational services, totaling $748,235.23. This is for our operations department for the Newcomb High School football and soccer field. We also have another cooperative educational service purchase order totaling $801,936.26. This is for the Shiprock High School soccer and field for the operations department. The seventh purchase order is for Echo Electric Company, totaling $398,917.75. This is for electrical upgrades for the central office. Also, the eighth purchase order for CWD government, totaling make sure I got the right total. $173,319.98. This is for BMW servers for the KBO business office and the PAC centers here. I believe they're upgrading or replacing 24 servers. This is labor and materials. The ninth purchase order is for the Hastings sandblasting and coating, totaling $92,207.76. This is painting and texture repairs at Newcomb Middle School. And we have an ESS purchase order for the district-wide sub-custodians, totaling $175,000 for the remainder of the school year. And then we have another purchase order, the 11th one on the list, for cooperative educational services.
This is for I believe this is the window project at the Kirtland Middle School, totaling $374,182.97. Any questions relating to the purchase orders over $60,000?
Any questions, comments, board members?
I don't have any comments, thank you.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, Board President Aspis, members of board, and Superintendent Carlson, yes, thank you. I can start back in L if you like me to. Thank you so much.
Okay, we will continue on to O, Impact Aid update by Jermaine Chappelle.
Good evening, board members.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Just very briefly, we have made some great headway with respect to the last remaining protest on the federal impact aid issues. The Secretary of the Federal Public Education Department has signed off on the order. And so what that means is we can now move forward to get the last remaining impact aid funds returned to us from the state of New Mexico. And so that's item one. The second item is that over the past few weeks, we've made some good headway in reaching out to the boards of Zuni and Gallup to talk about the formation of an impact aid association in New Mexico. And they have indicated interest in learning more about that. And we have discussed having a meeting of all three boards at the end of March to start talking about how to go about forming that association. And with that, I stand for any questions, Board President.
Any questions, comments, board members?
No questions from me, thank you.
Ms. Chappelle?
Yes, ma'am.
So you started off by saying the last remaining impact aid. Can you clarify that? Explain that?
Absolutely. We had filed, along with Zuni and Gallup, protests of 2 separate years when New Mexico PED claimed that they were equalized and that they could take 75% of our impact aid credit. In one of those years, we've already received back from the state those dollars. It was found that New Mexico PED had missed a deadline and were not eligible for those funds. The second one, and I apologize, I have a tickle in my throat. The second one was the one that we still had outstanding. And that is the one that we have now cleared up. And so about 16 million should come to us. I apologize for the coughing.
Ms. Chappelle?
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
You still
I did not have a
dealing,
cough attack.
you still dealing with that elephant?
Yes, the cough. I'm at that stage of coughing. So just to finish that out, this will close out the two protests that we did win, and will bring us about $16 million additional dollars. Does that answer your question, Board President?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions, comments from the board?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that's it. We'll continue to number 5, discussions, items for February 21st for regular school board meeting. Board members?
I'd like to know what the status is of the audit for the SPED services. Have we found a vendor? Have we done an RFP? Where are we at with that? Also, if there's any updates in regards to the Newcomb Elementary, if there's anything we've done in regards to helping this situation along. And lastly, I think at our recent board retreat, it was mentioned that the school culture or just the district culture or the climate was a lot better. Can we do a survey in regards to a satisfaction survey in regards to all the staff, what's working, what's not working? It seems like things are better, but if we could find out about that. And lastly, if there's any updates in regards to the other surveys regarding the feedback from the EAs and other people, other individuals that we had named in the process. I think that was all I had for now. Thank you.
Board Member George, did you have anything for items to be put on for Tuesday's meeting, regular board meeting?
Just the implementing the wear their IDs.
Can you repeat that, Ms. George?
I was asking if the students' IDs, we can see how that is going for requiring them to wear it on campus.
If I may, I have one other item.
Okay, are you done, Miss George?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted an update on the status of the lights or the cameras at Newcomb Elementary too. I had asked for an update within the month to see if those had been installed. Thank you.
Madam President,
Go ahead.
I would like to find out what the update is on the sprinkler system at the warehouse.
Okay. And for myself, I would like an update on where we stand as far as that light's concerned. From the bus stop there in Ninahansad. To me, that's a safety issue. And especially now, went through there the past few mornings and it being icy, I'm just glad the students are not out there. But yeah, from the looks of it and the talks of it, some past videos that I've seen with the former superintendent, all systems were go, and then now we come to a halt talking about anti-donation and things like that. And so I'd really like to find out where we're at with that and to get that in place as soon as possible. And then too, recently, luckily, we didn't have a serious incident, but I think that's something that we need, and I don't see how, I don't think it's ever been talked about as a presentation, but I believe it's been overlooked and minimized, and that's dogs. And I think with our students, we need to have that talk and that presentation of what to do, because and also I don't know if it would be nice or be good, but perhaps pepper spray. That could be used as a defense. In this last situation, people didn't want to be accountable, be responsible for the dogs, but they were saying that they were strays and things like that. But tired of those kind of talks, and it just goes round and around from Shiprock Police to the school to the parents to the people with the dogs. Then it goes around again, and then 2 years later it's still, and luckily the student didn't get seriously hurt, but need to stop that. And so if we're able to, have our bus drivers have that in hand, pepper spray, some type of defense, and And then again, there was the question of, you know, the driver leaving the bus, leaving the seat. And that also is concerning. But what do? You're caught in a situation. So I'm wondering if maybe our answer is to get someone to ride along, so that the bus is not unattended and then the student is escorted, or if there's means or ways to get closer to the home to avoid those dogs. So that's one area. And then the third thing is with the both boardrooms, Shiprock and here, our lighting is very poor, our walkway. And I'm surprised that the people that work in this building allowed that entrance to be that way. And, you know, I think whoever that person is, you know, need to, I don't know how you come to point out who inspects the work area or you know, so that you don't have things like that. Icy walkways, and there's even that question of, you know, handicap accessibility. All with that snow in that area and it being icy, and you know, that's not accessible. So we need to start looking at those things. And our newly sign that we need to put up for this board site. And that's it. Thank you. Go ahead.
This is in terms of the dogs. What I would like to see also is a protocol that we as a school district establish for the bus drivers. We have to have a system in place for each of these, the situations. Not just, okay, do this, maybe do this. I would like to see more of a protocol to follow. Somebody that would be able to receive a phone call or something in those situations that would be able to react to go out to those locations. If depending on the location of where the bus is, I would like to see something more concrete, something more as a procedure to follow. Thank you.
Board President, may I?
Go ahead.
Mr. Carlson, excuse me, in the school safety plans, there is a section on there for roaming dogs, and each school has to can put what their needs are in that part. So you might want to get with your safety team, and you can look in the safety plan, and there is a spot for that is in regards to the dogs. And then I have another question. Can we get HR to report how many of our Filipino teachers and staff that will be leaving this year? Can we get a report on that as well, please?
more board members? Comments, questions?
I have nothing more.
I don't have anything either. Thank you.
And I know Board Member Montoya brought this up before, but I don't know where it lies, but I would like to, myself, I'm wondering is to make sure about our visas. So, if we're up to date with them. Where we're not, why, if they're not completed or if they're still lacking, why? Is it our fault or is it, you know, I know legally they have to go through a specialized, you know, lawyer. What we're doing to help in that matter too.
You can have that report. Just so you know, we do have some folks that are really doing a good job of making sure our end of it is. It's just that when they're cultural exchange visas, that's sort of on their end in the Philippines, because their hands are a little bit tied. Other than what Mr. Montoya has been trying to do is actually go to legislators and lawmakers and say, hey, what can you do about it? Because on their end, they say, nope, you come back after your 2 years. It's cultural. You have to kind of download all the stuff you learned here before we can think about sending you back, and you got to stay for 2 years. So we've tried to keep them, and we're, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and our human resources are doing a real good job of that. But I can have them report where we're at with the different visa processes, because we're actually spending more money now to try to bring others here. And so I can have that in the report as well.
They give them $40,000.
Any more comments, questions?
Maybe.
Okay. And so, a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
Did we do a roll call?
No, you haven't yet.
I mean, do we do?
Do we do a roll call?
Yeah, vote.
Yeah.
It's kind of, okay. Vice President Haskell,
Yes.
Secretary Wells,
Yes.
Board Member George,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, we are now adjourned.